What's up, Kabroda crew? Welcome back in. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully y'all had a good rest of your day yesterday after the live stream. Not too much going on the market in terms of what happened yesterday. A little bit of an up move, but not really enough to kind of jump into and take or anything like that. Just mostly kind of chop, I guess, more or less, to the side. Like I said, there's a little bit of up, but just not a whole lot. It's kind of against the macro trend that we've kind of been talking about the last couple days. So not a whole lot, but yeah, we just want to say good morning to everyone and thank y'all for joining the live stream. We're jumping back in here. Got some water today, so we don't start choking of thirst. Yeah, I always want to make sure you have water, I guess, when you're doing live streams. But yeah, looks like we got two people here. Terry's here. Welcome in, Terry, and welcome, Kathleen. Thanks for joining the live stream. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, there's not a whole lot going on different than yesterday. Kind of more or less the same, really in the same kind of zone even. Yeah, we'll kind of jump into it, go through it though, check it out, talk about what's going to happen or what could happen, I guess. Maybe not what's going to happen. Kind of throw on the levels, check it all out, see what's going on. And we'll see what we think about it. But yeah, more or less kind of the same as the last 2 days have been. There's a decent downside there. You got pretty much weekly down to the 1 hour, all saying that we're in a pretty bearish state. Everything's in more or less of a bear trend, with it kind of being on the tail end, but there's definitely that price point we've been kind of looking at about around 60,000, a little bit under, but yeah, around 60,000 we've been talking about with that last drop kind of showing that. And that's the bigger trend. That's a bigger term trend. That's kind of what we've been talking about. It's just that big trend is looking for more downside possibility there, but are we really going to do that is the question. And I mean, obviously eventually it's looking like we're going to do that, and even that, I guess, is still, trading is all probability based, so you're playing the probability of that it might happen. The TA is pointing to that probability that's going to happen. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's ever going to be 100%. Yeah, so that's all we're saying when we say that we're looking at that level, is that it's just a higher probability that we would go down there. But yeah, that probably won't happen anytime soon. That's more of just a longer time frame look. And it could happen, it could be today we just drop down, maybe not all the way down there, but we could see some drops start happening today, maybe running into this weekend, next week, see massive drops down, and it could also be like a month or two from now that we see the drops start to happen, because with the weekly being the kind of I don't think it's on the monthly, but the weekly being kind of the top chart that we've seen it on, you kind of expect it to happen, kind of over the course of a couple weeks. If we're looking at price action even right here, and you're saying, I mean, if this was a weekly chart and you're kind of looking at it the same way, each candle's a whole week, so you're just seeing like a little up run there, and then we have like five weeks of just sitting here, and then we start running down, and yeah, in like 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've dropped quite a bit. But I mean, 4 weeks, that's a pretty long time. Obviously this is a 15-minute, but the weeklies, it's kind of the same idea. So all I'm saying is just that you know, if you're looking at the weekly chart, you can say, okay, well, it looks like we're going to drop to here. But if you just have candles even just dropping out the entire time, it's still going to take quite a few weeks before we see price action drop down there and come down. We have our target here at 55 or so. We could also bounce off that 200 too. But it'll just be a bit before we see any of that. We're going to have to kind of play it by ear, like I said. And obviously we're playing more scalps here with how we trade. So that's really what we're kind of watching for, is more scalps trades rather than rather than big time frame trades. So when we're talking about big time frames, we're really just looking at, you know, what's the big trend, so then we can find our scalps within the smaller trend. So obviously the down trades are going to be more preferred trades. You know, just judging by this week, obviously that's not always going to be perfect still. And right now it's definitely been a tough market to trade. I honestly couldn't really tell you why. I don't really have like a straight reason why, but there's just like why exactly it's been tough. It's just been a lot of, you know, kind of sideways price action. Price has kind of, you know, gone up when you thought it would go down. Kind of the same stuff we've been saying all week, on probably, you know, really for almost a month now. We've been saying that. Just difficult to read price action, and you know, difficult to kind of trade off of, you know. Good time to kind of just employ the strategy of, you know, kind of sitting on your hands, hanging out, not jumping into anything, just kind of, you know, staying back away from the chart and kind of looking at it as really like, okay, when should I be trading this and when should I not be? Like, what should I be watching for? That kind of thing, instead of you know, looking at it and being like, oh, okay, like it's looking like it's gonna go down today, like let's take a trade to the downside. Because for whatever reason right now, that's pretty hard to do. It could be due to, you know, the economy. It could be due to a number of different things. Could just be, you know, we're just in a weird period of trading. I don't know. That's what I was saying. I don't really know what's going on. You know, you can't even just say it's us either. I mean, you go look at pretty much any trader on the market, and they're having a pretty tough time trading. You know, some of them are doing pretty well, but most of them are having a tough time just kind of calling what the market's going to do and seeing what's going to happen. So, yeah, just jumping into it though. We'll grab our levels, kind of see where we're at today and see what we got going on. Like I said, we're in that downtrend, so it's definitely looking like more downtrend. If we pull up the website here, check it out. You can see we have a Solana trade here and nothing for BTC, nothing for ETH. The stand down is effective here on BTC because there's a gravity wall level at 76,205, which we are kind of ripping down to right now on price. I don't know why. We just got a massive down candle there though. But yeah, no trades here on BTC or Ethereum. So we'll take a look at Solana here in a little bit, kind of see what we think about that. Again, not too excited about that one, just because, like I said, it's just been hard to jump into anything. You know, trades just have not been playing out well. Even high probability, or trades that should be high probability, are actually pretty low probability lately, with how they've been firing. You're seeing if the trade does go in the direction that it's supposed to go, oftentimes you'll only get like a target one, if even, which is, you know, like, I don't know, it's hard to trade. Typically you'll see target two at least on the market when we're in typical trading. So seeing it barely even make it to one, if even make it to 1. That's something that you don't really want to see happening when you're trying to jump into the trade. If you're trying to make money, I guess, you know, if you just want to see it hit your stop loss all the time, that's not too bad. But we're here to make some money, so seeing that a little sketchy, a little hard, makes it tough. So yeah, let's grab our levels though and see what we got here on the charts. Like I said, we got that massive down candle happening right here on this 8:30 to 8:45 candle. Switch it to Thursday. We'll throw out our levels in, and these are our levels from today. We kind of broke out of our range yesterday to the upside too, so kind of interesting. Not a great break, honestly. We kind of had an upside break, which was interesting, but then it actually came and re-entered into our zone that we had, and then tried to break out again, which was like, in terms of how this I guess like mini system, obviously it's not a complete system, but if you're looking at the range there and you're trying to trade it based off the breakout, if it broke out like this and got like 5 or 6 closes above, you technically would want to just take that with a stop kind of really right below here, because that's kind of where it would come down. Now obviously it came back down and it would have been like, oh man, I got out, but you'd almost want to just jump in on this close above, because technically you reclaimed your level, and really based off of how this all works, you should be firing here just based off of you kind of reclaimed that resistance line, made it, or it was support, and then you kind of flipped it back to being resistance for a second. But when you broke through it again, it kind of showed, okay, this move was right and we're going to continue to the upside. But then instead it kind of ran up a little bit and then came back down and fell back into it, and now we're in that range again, even dropping below the 15,200. So and obviously, we've been looking at the macro that says down, so you're kind of like, well, that makes sense. But in terms of TA of how this range kind of, trading that range would work, that's, I don't know, just again, tough trading. Obviously that's sort of the basic concept of our system. It's not our whole system, and we use different levels to get our range for the day. So like today, wow, okay, this is kind of weird range actually today, but we got our breakout range, breakdown range here today. Don't know why they're so close. It's actually kind of weird. Maybe got screwed up or something today, or maybe those are actually the levels. But oops, we don't want to change that. We want to change this one. Make sure I got the right levels in there. Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird range, gotta say. Oh, that's not the range. Okay, that's my 618. That makes more sense. Yeah, there's the range. Alright, that makes it a little better. I was thinking like, man, we're right next to each other and we weren't even within the range when we started. That's pretty crazy. Looks like we're breaking out to the downside today, guys. We've been waiting all week for this move, and it's gonna just rip down in our faces today. Yeah, wait, when the system doesn't call it, I guess. That's how it's been lately. Yeah, we have a range here, though. We're looking to break out to the downside. Pretty much everything is kind of confirming that today, just based off of how these levels look. You got your breakout line up here at the daily resistance right above it. Down below, we got our breakdown line. Daily support is right here. Within the range. So we're looking for a pretty decent breakout to the downside if we get a close below. Obviously we want to wait for that predator candle to close. If you're there's no trade today on our system, but if you were looking to just take this based off of the levels, you would be taking it when you get a secondary close below this level here. Well, technically you'd wait for just a close below, but with the predator candle, it doesn't count. So we just closed our predator candle, and now we're opening our secondary candle. If this stays below this line, technically that's when you trade it down, and you should be able to take that to the downside. So we'd be looking at something like this. Obviously, like I said, there is no trade today, so you're not actually able to take anything like this, but that would be the trade for today. Possible targets, we'd be looking at target 1 here at 76,298 and target 2 at 75,884. That's kind of the levels for today. Like I said, it could continue running down. We're obviously looking for that 60,000 or a little bit lower range in terms of the longer term. Could that happen today? Most likely not. We'd be looking more just to take, you know, a little, we're just scalpers, like I said, so we're just looking to take a little bit out of the market and kind of get in, get out, have a nice little trade if we were going to trade today, like I said. So definitely interesting price action, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of what we've been looking at. Again, you need to see that close though below the breakdown line before we can jump into that. But it's looking nice for a short in terms of how the levels are kind of setting up and everything. We got about another 13 minutes or so on that candle to see that close below. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Really, we would need it to kind of come down to target 2 anyways to kind of tell us that we are in fact in that breakout to the downside. We want to see it come down and break the 76, really just 76,000 level. If we can break that 76,000 level, that will break the bottom of our kind of range that I was talking about earlier, the range we've kind of been in since Monday morning, Sunday afternoon kind of. Well, really late night Sunday into Monday morning kind of level. We kind of dropped out Sunday night into Monday morning. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's where we'd be looking for it to break. That would confirm that, yeah, we are in fact going to get to continue down here. Yeah, and that would kind of just tell us, you know, this break to the upside was in fact a false breakout to the upside. It is interesting how long that false breakout took, but you know, maybe it's just a little, maybe we're looking too short of term. Maybe it's a little more of a hour kind of trade range here. Maybe the hour kind of broke out. You only saw 1, 2, 5. Well, you saw a pretty decent amount of hour candles up above too, so I don't know. It's hard. That would have been a hard call to say that was a bearish, or sorry, I guess bull trap is what it would be. That would have been a hard call though. So definitely looked like we were gonna just decide to go bullish right there, and then we didn't. So, and obviously, you know, like I said, we are in that long trend, so if you're looking at it, you're like, oh well, it makes sense we didn't go bullish. And yeah, that's true, but looking at the shorter time frame like this, it still could go bullish even though we're in a bigger bear trend. Like we could go bullish for yesterday, could have ripped up a little bit, and then today we ripped down and go down to whatever, and we could have gotten a decent move up. Maybe not as good as if it was going down, obviously, because we are in a bear trend. It still could have gone up a decent amount, maybe target 1, target 2 kind of levels, but it didn't. So I don't even know if it made it to target 1 yesterday. But yeah, again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens today. Definitely looking like we're gonna get that breakdown, and then yeah, we do need to get below here though to see that continuation happen for us. Honestly, if it broke down below there, we could see maybe target 3 today. Would I be super excited about pulling my target out to 3? Probably not. I just, you know, like I said, it's been a rough market, so if you can get target 2, then that's great. Pull it at target 2. That's what I would say. and again, it's not any kind of financial advice or anything, but that's definitely what I would be looking at for myself. Let's jump on over to Sol and kind of see where that's at while we kind of wait for this candle to close and see what happens with it. So we'll open up our Sol chart here, go back to Kabroda, and we'll grab the levels from there so we can have them on our chart. And in terms of our chart, this is what we're looking at here. Alright, so haven't got the breakdown on Solana yet. Well, I guess we did on BTC. So yeah, we haven't got the breakdown here on Solana. It's looking pretty good. It's kind of same as BTC in terms of the levels. You're seeing some nice downside action here. You're seeing the main thing that I look for whenever I look at the levels for our charts is one, kind of where's the daily support, where's the daily resistance, that kind of levels. And then I also look at where's the 30-minute range. So depending on which side the 30-minute range is, a lot of times what I've noticed is that you'll actually break out to that side more often than not. So you know, today it's hard, it is closer to the middle, but if you just kind of glance at it, you do say, okay, it is closer to the downside, I would say. Maybe it's not, I don't know. To me it looks closer to the downside. This one I would say though is kind of, you know, hard. Yeah, it is closer a little bit, but not by a whole lot. So I guess maybe not today, but you know, typically you'll see the 30-minute range like closer, if not even on top of the level. Like if we go back to BTC, I believe yesterday it was actually close to the top. So if we go open up yesterday's price action, you can see that the 30-minute range is actually sitting right on top of that breakout level on the top. So a lot of times you'll see it break up, and guess what? Yesterday we broke up. So kind of just a little nice indicator, I guess, for the day. It's not 100%, like I said, it's an indicator, so you're gonna get some flux in it. But you know, today we got a 30-minute range closer to the downside for BTC. So in terms of what it looks like we're going to break down. And Solana, I would say, is probably going to follow suit with that, along with the fact that, you know, Solana does look like it's also set up in a similar scenario with the 30-minute range being closer to the downside. Obviously not as cleanly as we'd probably like. It is definitely closer to the middle. Just looking, it's closer to the middle than I would probably like to kind of be like, oh yeah, it's a nice indicator there telling us it's downside. But you know, using BTC behind it, which you kind of have to do with altcoins, you kind of got to use BTC. Altcoins do tend to follow BTC. They can not follow it, but typically you do see them follow it. So definitely that downside there. Just wanted to look at Ethereum real quick. We'll grab the levels here and throw them on. Alright, so pretty interesting here on ETH too. It's actually showing something pretty similar. We got a breakdown level here. We got our 30-minute range right on top of it. So also another good sign for the downside. Along with the fact that your daily support is right above it, which means we're in a pretty good trade to the downside. Same thing on Solana. You got your what am I saying? You got your daily support above the level there, so you're looking for a pretty good trade to the downside too, or a good probability of a trade to the downside, let's say. Yeah, again, you're gonna have to wait for this one to close. If it does close below, we'd be looking at, actually, let's just grab the trade and throw it on here. So we head back to the site, open up the cockpit here, and you can see we got our full trade over here. We'll grab the stuff down in below, grab the copy to HUD button, and then we can throw it on our Kabroda indicator. and this is the levels we're looking at. So yeah, pretty good looking little trade. So we need to get a close below, obviously, and then we'd kind of have our stop like that, have our target down here. Target number 2, it is grade A, so you take 30% at 1 and 70% at 2. That's the idea there. When you take your 30%, you do move your stop down as well, at least to break even. So wherever that is, once you take that 30%, it will be a little bit above your entry. You could pull your stop right down to that break even, or you pull it down farther. That's the system, I guess. You're definitely welcome to do whatever you want. But yeah, in terms of the system, you'll bring it down in that break even, or you could even bring it down where you're actually at your entry. One thing we do caution, I guess, on is that a lot of times what we've seen is when it does want to go down or up, I guess, you're going to see a lot of times it'll come down to 1. Sometimes it'll come down to 2, but a lot of times it'll come down to 1. And then you'll see it kind of do a little pullback and retest the breakout level. And if you entered right on that breakout level, or even maybe a little bit below, depending on what time you get in, you'll see it come back up and actually hit you out because you moved your stop down right on top of the line. So a lot of times, that's why we kind of say, you know, your break even, because a lot of times just having that little bit of extra room will actually keep you in, and then it will drop down to target 2 after that pullback. And a lot of times, like I said, it is just testing the breakout line, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Now, recently it's been a little less likely to happen. A lot of times what it does is it'll drop down, have a maybe decent drop, sometime, most of the time, honestly, not even get to target 1, and then it will come back up and then just like come back into the range and sit there like it never broke out. So kind of like a bear trap almost move down to the downside. So yeah, that makes it a little harder to trade. So, you know, maybe you pull more at target 1, maybe run your, if you do get target 1, you come down, you take it, you'd pull your stop down closer to the entry, just because, you know, lately it's kind of come up and just taken, like taking your money. That way you can still make some, you know, if it does come up. But, you know, it's up to you again. It's how you're going to trade. The system is that you take 30% and then pull your stop down to that break-even level, wherever that is. Got about 2 more minutes before this candle closes. Whew. Yeah, BTC is a little bit above its breakdown range, so did not get a close below yet, like I said. This is why we wait, though, you know, kind of breaking back into our range here. The 8:30 candle is kind of when the stock market, like futures and stuff, opens. So it's the time when you want to be mindful and just be careful where, you know, with how you treat that candle, because that candle will a lot of times have a lot of volatility. A lot of times it's kind of false volatility, like you know, movement comes in, which is great, but it'll kind of go in the opposite direction. So you know, you might be like, oh, it's going to break down today, I'll just take it, and you would have been pretty happy on this today on the 8:30 candle, but we could see price return and go up instead today, because it never really was going to go down there. It just happened to be that 8:30 volatility candle kind of brought it down enough where we kind of broke our level where we thought we were going to be continuing down. So just a lot of false moves there in that 8:30 candle that happened. So that's why we kind of say, you know, wait for 8:45, wait for that close below after 8:45, and that'll keep you a little safer, just based off of, you know, what we've kind of learned trading the system and kind of diving into it. Yeah, doesn't look like we're gonna get that close below right now, unless it just kind of drops down there in the last couple seconds. Nope. But Yeah, we'll see how today plays out. Honestly, like I said, not too excited about it. There's no real trade here on BTC, so only thing you're really looking for is that Solana trade. Again, if BTC doesn't break that level, obviously Solana's not going to break its 200 here, so we're just going to see either more sideways chop or maybe I don't know. I would say a breakdown is probably more likely, but yeah, if you don't see the breakdown, you're just going to see chops to the sideways. You might go up and down in the range that we've been kind of talking about, but it's not really going to go anywhere exciting. So, and you're not going to see any exciting price action. And also, it's not on your. You're not going to see that on your trades for the day either. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and that's what we're looking at. So, you guys will have to just watch it for today, see what you think about it. But it's definitely a good time to kind of employ the strategy of what I was saying earlier, just kind of sitting back, sitting on your hands, just kind of watching price action, not losing money. So then when the market does get a little better and a little cleaner, we'll be able to have money to kind of invest into, trading it and stuff like that. And again, it's not financial advice or anything. We're just trying to educate y'all on trading and showing y'all how to use some different systems and stuff like that. So, yeah, thanks for joining. We will catch y'all on next Tuesday again for another live stream, kind of going over this stuff. We don't have any videos coming out today, so y'all, hopefully we'll have one sooner or later, but yeah, no videos today, so just the live stream. But thanks for watching, and thanks for joining us, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, hopefully y'all have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your break from the market, I guess. Just kind of enjoy the time, maybe take some time to do a little studying, a little learning to get better at trading. But other than that, we're pretty much it. So yeah, again, thanks for coming. We'll catch y'all next week. Again, 8:30 Tuesday, 8:30 CST. So whatever that is for your time zone. Here in Texas, it's 8:30. So y'all can figure that out for your time zones. But yeah, happy trading to y'all, and we will catch y'all next Tuesday. Bye.